In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why Facebook ads do not work for roofing, for you. So the first issue is you don't have a sales system that can handle cold traffic, right? Now, what is cold traffic? Cold traffic is people that never heard of you, they weren't referred by anybody. You know, the first time ever hearing about you or seeing your ad is your ad, right, that you're running on Facebook. And then they click it, and that's it. That's still cold. They're not warm, right? They're coming to you, they're inbound, right? So it's a little bit better than reaching out to somebody that's never heard of you because they're coming to you and you've never heard of them, so they have higher intent, right? But they've never heard of you, right? So it's cold traffic, right? And if you're used to handling door knock leads, which is more warm, or because you're speaking to them face to face, or you're used to, referrals or anything of that nature, so you're playing an entirely different game, okay? Cold traffic behaves differently. It's skeptical, sometimes unmotivated, and it needs nurturing. It's not an easy close. It's not these lay down closes. If somebody gets a referral, right, and that referral gets sent to you, they're likely not even going to talk to any of their companies because their friend is vouching for you as a company. So it's a lay down. It's easy, right? But when you play the game of cold traffic and you start to compete with everybody else, right? Now they're talking to other companies. So now you have to be better than them at sales. You have to have a better offer. You have to be more competitive on your pricing. You're playing an entirely different game. These are not lay downs. You actually have to compete with the other companies, right? And in order to get to the next level, you're going to have to do this, okay? So you're playing an entirely different game. And the biggest issues that you might have with your current sales system is, one, you might not be that good at sales, or your team might not be that good at sales. They might not be as good as you think, right? Two, your offer, your pricing is off, okay? So if your offer and pricing is off, that means the closing process is gonna be so much harder, especially with cold traffic, okay? And now three, you have zero nurturing process pre-appointment, okay? And what's nurturing? Nurturing is basically, building rapport on the phone or sending these guys testimonials or things like that. So you see, fix this with message leads pre-appointment with social proof. So your reviews, your testimonials, right? You're trying to almost make it like a referral lead where, they have their friends vouching for them. Now you're just kind of sending other people that vouch for you to these cold leads, warming them up into a kind of referral lead, right? Before you even speak to them on the appointment. Have your salesmen or your agents call and confirm pre-appointment and build rapport, build that relationship. So now when they, enter the door, they're more trusted, right? Have an offer that makes the sale easier, guarantees on, the quality of the roof or the time frame it will be installed, or 25-year repair policy, whatever it is. Have certain offers that makes the sale easier, makes your sales process and your offer and your product as a company more competitive to other companies, okay? And then adjust your pricing if needed. Good way to do this is just kind of see what other roofers are selling their roofs at, and if you're competitive, you're around the same price, you're probably fine, okay? Yeah, first you need to fix your sales system. If you do not have a sales system that has handled cold traffic at scale in the past, if you're used to referrals, door knocking, things like that, especially referrals, then it's an entirely different game, okay? So that's first things first. Second issue that I get and that I see the most is your ads are attracting horrible leads. So you might just, you're running these ads, you see other people running these ads, and you're like, okay, Facebook ads don't work because I can't sell these guys. These leads suck, right? And first you want to make damn sure that these leads sucking isn't just an excuse of a poor sales system. But if your sales is good and you're like really confident, okay, I have a good sales system, right? Then now you need to look at your ads, right? Because your ads could be attracting horrible leads. And I promise you, it's not Facebook. It's not the platform. It's like, oh, you can't get good leads on Facebook. That's why other people spend thousands and thousands and thousands per day in their market, right? It's because, they're just getting shit leads. No, obviously not. That's not how this shit works, okay? So your ads are probably just getting shit leads. Your offers probably getting shit leads. You are just probably not good at running Facebook ads, or your marketing company is not good at running Facebook ads, right? So I'm gonna break down exactly what this looks like, okay? So The wrong ad style or hook will attract the wrong people, okay? For example, anything saying, insinuating even, it doesn't even need to say this word for word. If it insinuates this in any way, you're going to get shit leads. And I've been there, I've experienced this. Free roof replacement, zero out of pocket, zero down, zero up front, wording like that. Government program, wording like that. People expecting handouts, broke people, broke leads that can't afford to get a new roof, right? They're just expecting somebody to pay for it for them, or they're expecting for some, program or some crazy discount. You get the point, right? And like I had an ad that didn't say anything like this at all. It didn't say, a price or an offer, but the ad was literally like, my mom's roof was leaking and she didn't have enough money to fix it. So it's insinuating, she didn't have enough. She had it's the first line's like the call out, right? So someone with a leaky roof, so somebody with a roof that needs replaced basically, which is good, that's fine. But then the next line is she didn't have any money to fix it. So now the ad's gonna attract people that need a new roof, but they also don't have any money to fix it, right? And then the next line was just like, and she found this new program that helped her get a new roof. Didn't say in the ad, helped her get a new roof for a cheap price or a low price at this price, right? Which would almost save that first part of the ad where it's like she didn't have any money to fix it. If we said, and this new program or this company, this local roofing company helped her get a new roof for as low as X, like as low as 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, whatever price you want to put, that could have saved the entire ad just with that, right? For saying it as low as price. Even though I wouldn't recommend running the first line, like that part's crucial. So that's the next thing. Your ad is baiting the wrong crowd. You're not disqualifying anybody, which I don't even recommend you do. Like having on your form, like qualifying for like income or credit or anything, that's so much unnecessary friction when you could just change your ad and fix the entire issue in the first place rather than adding a bunch of friction on the form. But if you were to run an ad like this, then you would need friction on the form in order to get qualified leads. You have an open form like I run, but you also have an ad that's attracting low quality prospects, right? What you're telling Facebook now is keep getting more of these, right? Because then the leads coming through and they're not qualified, and then now it's just gonna keep getting unqualified leads for the cheapest amount of price. And yeah, so you're playing a volume game, not a quality game, and oftentimes, especially when you scale up, you will not be able to sustain a good cost of acquiring a customer, and you won't be profitable. Like with Facebook ads, you just won't, okay? So the way you fix this, either add quality filters, which I think is the worst option out of all of these, specific on pricing and offer, roofs from X price, 5,997. That's a pretty popular offer. And if it's popular, it means it works. It means other companies are using it and they're selling it. So before you start crying about, I'm not really gonna sell any roofs at that price. Everybody else is doing it. So I think you need to figure out how to adapt, right? And run that offer. Yes, you can run like 997. That does work. Your costs are just gonna be higher. It just depends on your company. But running anywhere from like $5,000 to $9,999 is what I would do. I wouldn't go anywhere over that in your ads. Your costs are gonna be absolutely trash. Anything under 10 grand pretty much sounds good. Avoid wording that indicates free roofs. Like I went over, you want to avoid that. Free or even like very, very cheap, like dirt cheap, because some of them, they might not expect free, but they expect pretty much to get a handout and it to be, $1,000 or some shit, right? So you want to make sure that is not insinuated in your ad and your ad copy anywhere. Can't be insinuated at all, or else it's going to be damn near impossible to make the sale. You're just making that lead, colder and colder and colder and colder, okay? And now that brings me to my final issue that I see when people run Facebook ads in roofing, and that's just you have a shit offer. So this is kind of a different issue, but than the first one. This is kind of like you almost have no offer, and you're just like saying shit in your ad, or maybe you do have an offer and it's one of these. This one is kind of just like, you're just saying shit in your ad that insinuates a cheap or free roof, and therefore you attract broke people or people expecting handouts, right? Which is going to be almost impossible to sell, right? So this one, it's a little different. This is you do have an offer, but it's weak. And what happens when you have a weak offer is, you either get no leads or you get bad leads, right? So an example of one that would get bad leads is these. these are offers that give bad leads. But ones that would get no leads is book your free roofing inspection. Now, I know you probably were able to get away with this with your door knocking pitch. Just be like, oh, let me hop on your roof and check it out. I've seen the videos. But this is not going to work with ads, right? Nobody gives a shit. They're not going to click on an ad. They just want to know, how much can I get a roof for practically, right? Or how quick, how soon can I get a roof for the best price? Like, that's all they care about. They don't really care about, going through that whole process with all these companies, getting inspections, getting different prices. Like, they don't want to hear all that. They kind of just click on ads where they're like, okay, I'm very likely to get a good deal here, right? And this, you are not portraying that in any way whatsoever, okay? Now, if your offer is bad, you're either going to get bad leads or no leads or even both. Most of the time, it's going to be one or the other, but sometimes it's both, okay? And I would say big case where it's both is if you lowball too hard. What I mean by lowballing too hard is you're like, get a new roof at $2,000. I think a lot of people, that'll come off as scammy. They won't believe it. So, you're going to see some high costs, and you're also going to see some shit leads because the people that do click, that do believe it, they're going to, again, want handouts and shit. So, yeah, that's pretty much the whole rundown there. But I'm going to show you exactly how you fix it. Like, what does good offer look like, okay? So, yeah, the problem isn't Facebook, it's your offer. A good offer equals something they actually want. Like I said, they want to get a good deal, so they click that ad, and they're like, okay, I'm very likely to get a good deal here because he's giving out quotes starting at X price, right? So that's an example of a good offer. Like we've said, 5,997. You can even say things like save 4,000, 5,000, pretty heavy discounts. Like, you got to make sure to put a dollar amount on it, and it's got to be heavy. Nobody really cares, and I've ran these ads where it's like $1,000 or $2,000. They really want to see more savings than that just because a roof is such a big, investment for them. So $1,000 is not really that big of a deal to them, right? But $4,000, that's like a pretty big deal. That's like 20-25% depending on the roof. So that's a pretty big deal, right? And then for insurance, you could do stuff like storm damage coverage, see if you qualify. Now, insurance, and if you want to go heavy on the financing, that's kind of a different story. What I would do with financing is you put get a roof for starting at, $197 a month or $97 a month or $150 a month. And then in the qualifier on the form, you need to do credit, right? Because if you're heavy advertising for financing, a lot of people, you're going to kind of have a similar issue with broke leads and stuff like that coming through. But to counteract that, you need to have the credit thing, right? And if you have the credit on the qualifier with that, you're going to get a lot of traffic. You're going to get DQs that are filtered out, but you will get good lead costs if you do it that way. And then storm damage coverage, same thing, kind of qualify, make sure they have, the proper insurance that you would need, for the sale to move forward. But that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 issues that I see when people say Facebook ads don't work for roofing. So check out our other videos. We go more in depth on how to set up campaigns, how to script and run ads, more breakdown on sales systems, offers, call scripts, all of the above. We take care of everything on this channel, and stay tuned for future videos. Peace out.